So I don't know how many of you guys might have heard of this. There's a thing called musical chairs. And for me, I know of it because of it happening at schools and stuff. So like when there might be a Halloween themed event going on, there might be a scene where you do musical chairs, and whoever ends up winning usually ends up getting some kind of prize, whether that's a food item or something else. It just varies. I'm sure anyone around my age will probably remember that. And I don't know how old that game is, so maybe other people will remember that too. But I need to back off for a minute because I need to explain something. Don't worry, trust me, this all makes sense in a minute. So I was going to upload a deep dive today. It's going to be the next deep dive, and it was on a department store chain. I'm not going to reveal which one yet, although you could probably take a pretty good guess as to what chain it's going to be. I was going to upload that today, but unfortunately things didn't quite go the way I was expecting. Today being the day you watch this, things didn't go quite the way I was expecting. And well, in hindsight, it's a good thing because, oh my goodness, I had a big boo-boo in there that if I had rendered it before, it would not be good. But the thing I want to get to is that while I was rewatching it just a little while ago, going through it like I always do. As an editor, you gotta rewatch the stuff a good couple or 3 times to make sure it's really, really good and not having any mistakes, which that's what I've been doing for the last few days now, is just making sure there's no silly mistakes in there. But while I was rewatching it, I was thinking about Payless Shoe Source. I'll mention very random reference to Payless Shoe Source in that video. And I was thinking about how there are several different locations here in Cheyenne. More than 2. I'll say that. More than 2. And with that also came to mind the fact that you often see businesses move around quite a bit. It's pretty common happen in shopping malls. There's so many examples in case of my mall, and I guarantee your mall probably has some kind of example of a store that just moves around all the time, or maybe a handful of stores. It's literally like they're playing musical stores or musical real estate or something. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. Well, to make this point, let's turn the camera over this way. So back when I was first getting into this retail stuff, like doing a lot of videos around retail, the most extreme example I saw of this outside of the shopping mall was here. So this used to be a Hobby Lobby. Now Hobby Lobby, they moved over to the former Kmart. But as for this space, you can see that you got Frontier Trampoline Park, that's new. I'm going to just give that the credit, it's new. But Big Lots, on the other hand, they actually relocated from across the parking lot. Technically, it's 2 different plazas. I think they call this one Parkway Plaza, and the other one that they were in, I think they call it Cheyenne Plaza. Either way, they basically moved across the parking lot, and at that point, it kind of turns into a little bit of an argument of musical chairs, so to speak. And actually, come think of it, technically, that also includes Spirit Halloween, because Spirit Halloween was in the Kmart, and then they went to the Big Lots. And then they also did Big Lots and Bed Bath & Beyond, but that's a whole other story. But the point is, it kind of started a whole thing of musical chairs, or if you want to call it something else, maybe something that's a little more appropriate. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe musical retail or musical real estate. I don't know. It kind of started a little taste of musical retail in a non-shopping mall case back then when this was all happening around 2019. Now, I thought that was going to be the most extreme example I'd ever see outside of a shopping mall. No, not even close. So the next example we're about to go to, it gets more extreme. It gets more extreme, if you could believe that. I thought this one was pretty meme-worthy just because of how it turned into that little bit of conundrum. But nah, it actually does get a lot crazier. So hold on, we're going to get to the next spot. Your first thought is probably, why is this next shot natural grocers? Or if you're in Cheyenne, you already know where this is going. But if you aren't in Cheyenne and you haven't been following along with the channel over the last, I guess, couple years now, you're probably wondering that, right? So this used to be a Barnes & Noble. Now, when Barnes & Noble closed, they were originally supposed to temporarily move into the Frontier Mall until they found a better permanent space. Now, I guess in a way, I kind of had thought that maybe this would happen, but I really didn't see this actually going that way. I thought that was really, really unlikely at the time. I thought they would have gone for another space, I'll be completely honest. It makes sense in hindsight, but let's go ahead and explain the scenario a little bit. So Natural Grocers, after Barnes & Noble closed, because they closed for a while, because they were initially going to go in the mall, but they never ended up opening up in the mall. After that happened, Natural Grocers ended up moving in here. So it's like, okay, so Natural Grocers probably wanted more space, and I guess, who knows, maybe the landlord probably was like, you know what, hey, come over here. After Natural Grocers moved over here, where things went next was like, okay, wow. So Barnes & Noble ended up applying for permits at the old Natural Grocers location. That's right. They went over to the old Natural Grocers location that's over near the Frontier Mall off of Frontier Mall Drive. And that's where they're at today. And that's what makes this meme-worthy, 100%. I don't know if it's good or bad, but it definitely is meme-worthy in a way. It's kind of cool, too, though, because, again, you just don't see that happen too much. Like, you know, usually it might be something more like what happened with Big Lots and Hobby Lobby, where it's just bouncing around from space to space to space. These guys literally swapped spots. Like, you had a chair and a chair. You guys were sitting on those two chairs, and then you swapped chairs. That's what happened, basically, right? Like, that's kind of what happened in a way. So I don't know if there's like a really good ending to this. Like, I can't say whether this is good or bad. It's just something that's kind of interesting and weird to me that I noticed happen. And at least for the Cheyenne area, I'm like 99% certain there's at least some kind of inside joke or meme there. I don't know quite what it is, but I mean, you still just don't see this happen. Usually it's, if at the most extreme instance, the closest that you end up seeing is exactly like we saw at the start of the video, where it's Big Lots moves to Hobby Lobby, Hobby Lobby moves to Kmart, Spirit Halloween moves from Kmart to Big Lots. It's kind of like that, right? That's kind of the most extreme. Whoa, sorry about that. That's kind of the most extreme, but then you have this that happened, and it's like, wow, that's a little more extreme, isn't it? Again, kind of cool in a way. Just because you don't see that happen very often. It is cool that they were able to at least keep their spaces and perhaps have a better place for what they were going for, because I know that Barnes & Noble, they have been going for the smaller spaces over the last few years. And Natural Grocers, on the other hand, they're more of a grocery store anymore. They kind of need the space, right? For all the products they want to be able to sell. In their old space, they didn't have as much as they do here. There's certainly more variety and a little more options at the new store versus the old one, I would say, overall, generally speaking. Again, I don't know if there's a good or bad ending to this. Like, it's just really, really interesting to me. And something random that definitely just came to mind as I was editing the video of the deep dive, which may or may not have to do with the place that's across the street from the new Natural Grocers, but we'll get to that hopefully in the next video. I don't want to promise, or hopefully later this week. I don't want to promise a date yet, just because golly knows something else will happen. I am really, really glad, though, that things end up going the way they did, because, man, I don't think I would have caught the boo-boo I made if I'd uploaded it today, the day you guys see this, the day I upload this. I will try to schedule it at least a couple days in advance, so that way you have a chance to discover the video before it premieres, because it will premiere. It's a deep dive, of course. I'm going to premiere that. I guess I should go ahead and give a quick shout out to my channel members, as I usually do. I've promised to shout them out in every single video. In the day, I used to just do the description, but these days I try to do it at the end of videos as well. So yeah, huge shout out to them. They obviously support the channel, and over the years, they've really helped out overall a lot. Like I could not be more grateful. Until next time, peace out, everybody.